Hey, true crime fans! Tired of ads interrupting your gripping investigations? Good news! With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. After all, ads shouldn't be the scariest thing about true crime. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free true crime. That's amazon.com/ad-free true crime to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Your wedding will be one of the happiest days of your life, and Blue Nile can help you celebrate it with a gift that'll last a lifetime. Whether you're looking for wedding bands, a gift for your partner, or an unforgettable thank you to your bridesmaids, Blue Nile offers a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Plus, expert guidance to ensure you find the perfect piece. Experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999 at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to D-List Diaries. Thanks for tuning in and listening to all of our episodes. I'm Kirsten.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Gina.
Last week, we had my lovely husband on the show. And I honestly, I thought it was going to be a lot longer because, as you guys could tell, and as you already know, we're both talkers. But I was giving him little leg taps, like, okay, we got to feed the dogs, So we can't keep going. But he's got a lot to say, and he was really happy that he got to share it. So thank you for everyone who listened. And he's really happy he got to prove that he does speak, despite what the show made it look like.
I loved having Chris on. I feel like he's so genuine and like good at, I don't know, he's like descriptive and genuine, and it's cool to see you guys interact still, like 2 years later. It gives me the warm and fuzzies.
Aww.
It's like a throwback memory.
He was upset that we did not get to talk about Love Island because he did want to say how much he loves it, but I told him that Kirsten doesn't watch it, so I didn't want to talk about something we couldn't all give our opinion on, but he wants everyone to know that he is very invested, and it is crazy.
Nicole, you were so sweet. It definitely would have been okay if he wanted to discuss Love Island on the show. Hey, it doesn't matter. You know, I don't watch a lot of shows, so I definitely would have been down to hear all the tea and all the juice, but it is totally fine. But I enjoyed having Chris on the show, and I'm like sending you guys the heart signal because y'all always just make my heart melt every time I see the two of you, and just watching you guys interact with each other and listening to all of your stories, and like him surprising you with the whole Maui trip. I can't wait to see the photos. I'm going to be watching y'all's stories to feel like I'm in Maui with y'all celebrating.
You're coming.
So I'm coming. I'm getting my flight ticket so we can all celebrate. We have to celebrate our anniversaries.
Well, I actually was looking into getting a photographer because for our 1-year wedding anniversary, we had our wedding photographer do an anniversary shoot because she also felt the same way as us, that the pictures were just not good. The lighting was not good. That our producers told her to like not help us at all with posing, try to make it uncomfortable. So she wanted a redemption, and she gave us an amazing anniversary photo shoot. So I wanted to do it again this year in Maui. So I was looking at photographers, and the hotel has one of those things where they'll like take your picture and then you can see the gallery. But I feel like those are more geared towards families. Like I want a real photographer. So I need to maybe, does anyone know a good photographer in Maui? And if you do, send them my way because I want a referral.
Maybe. You know somebody, Gina?
Oh, Gina knows everybody that's a hairstylist. And I did her hair one time. Like her daughter referred her to me here. And then they were moving to Vegas, but I don't know if they're actually in Maui. But she's an amazing photographer. So we can stalk and see if anything, she might know friends that are also photographers in Hawaii. And yeah, I have weird connections all over the world.
You do. Like if we could do a photo shoot every year for our anniversary, by the time we're like 80 and 84, we'll have all of these photo shoots just showing us aging gracefully. And I think that could be really cute.
Also, back to Love Island for 1 second. I think it'd be so funny if we had Chris and my boyfriend, who's anonymous, on the podcast to talk about Love Island.
We'll use a voice changer for his voice.
Yeah.
I love Love
We
Island.
can like blur it, like one of those, record it. What are those shows? Like the Unsolved Mysteries where they're like sitting in the shadows?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so creepy every time. I do not like those shows.
Because they're both more invested than anyone I've ever, especially any man I've ever met that watches reality television. We like count down. We're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, we got to go watch Love Island right now. Kirsten, you have to get into it.
I tried telling her before.
What do you like best about this Love Island show? I'm going to watch it tonight.
It's truly that it comes on live every 24 hours. Like that is mind blowing for me, especially after we've been through this process, because there is like only so much editing, unless they're like legitimately lying and it's like 2 weeks later or something crazy. But
I don't think
apparently, I think it's live. And then the people that they bring like these bombshells in, right? So it's like everyone's dating everyone and they switch up couples. And the bombshells that come in have been watching from a hotel room to think about who they might like when they get in. So they're like keeping up with it and then they show up. So I guess it's just like mesmerizing to me that it's happening almost in real time.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to watch it tonight.
And they're so good at the intrigue for the next episode. Like, so it's on 6 days a week.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah. So it'll be a crazy episode. And because there's no well, it's on Peacock. So our version has like random 60-second commercials, but it's a true full hour almost. And at the end, it's like tomorrow night. And then it's this tomorrow night crazy trailer. And you're like, oh my God, I thought this episode was good. Next episode is going to be crazy. And then you literally watch it the next night. We have to get Jasmine on, the Love Island Jasmine. She could give us, she's a D-lister.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, can y'all DM her? I'm gonna watch it tonight, and I'm gonna text y'all, and I'm gonna give y'all the full thoughts of what I think about the show. But I told Nicole, like, I always fall asleep on those dating reality shows. Like,
You
I
won't fall
fall
asleep
asleep
on
on
this
Love
one.
Is Blind. I tried to watch Perfect Match because y'all told me to watch Perfect Match.
This one is, the drama is drama-ing. It is wild.
It's entertaining.
Basically, they all date each other, but they're all fair game. So it's like you're matched up with someone in the beginning, and you do these challenges to see if you're compatible. But if a bombshell comes in, your man could leave you to be with this new girl, but then you're single, so you go start talking to another guy.
Or you could be sent home. And then they do a recoupling ceremony. So all of a sudden, the craziest thing is like the stuff that happens, they all have phones, and all of a sudden you'll hear a text tone and someone's like, I got a text. And they're like, you never know what it's going to be. It's either like they're going on a date with someone, or it's like meet at the fire pit for a recoupling. And they have to stand up and be like, I am choosing this boy because of this and this and this. And like, you never know who they're going to pick. It's just, the adrenaline is high.
It sounds crazy. It sounds like it's drama filled for sure. I can see why y'all like to watch it. It sounds very entertaining.
And our men are like maybe more invested than we are, truly.
It's like football Sunday or football season, because there's so many episodes, but it's only over a span of a few weeks.
It's like 30 episodes or something. It's a couple months. Yeah.
I think so.
So do they have any successful couples from the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way. Are you serious?
Yes, I swear. And someone wins at the end.
Okay, I need to stalk their Instagram. Let me go pull up the Instagram.
The winners from last season are still together. They live together. They got a dog.
When you say they win, what do they win?
Money.
$100,000.
Basically, they never know what's happening. They just put on a bathing suit and they go outside and they don't know what's happening that day.
Not to mention, all of the people are so hot.
They have this thing in Midway called Casa Amor, where all of the women go into a house and there's like 8 men in there, and they go for a few days, and the men do the same thing. So their relationships are tested and they can't talk to the person they're in a couple with.
I forgot about Casa Amor.
Yes, Casa Amor. That's where Snake Wrangler Rob is from. Yeah, I'm telling you. Kirsten, you would love this show.
One of our clients at Slay Bay, I slid in her DMs and was like, I love this show. We want to do your hair. And now she's one of our clients.
See, slide in the DMs work.
I fangirled her.
Yes, slide in the DMs work.
Well, the idea for this podcast actually came. Gina was doing this girl's hair.
Yes.
I actually randomly contacted you and she's like, I just found out I'm about to leave for Love Island like tomorrow and I need my hair done. And I just happened to be in the salon. So we were giving her advice. We're like, okay, this is how you work with producers and watch your face because they'll use a reaction to one thing for another thing. And we were like, from 2 D-listers to another. And we're like,
Wait, how long did she last on the show? Did she end up with a partner afterwards or?
No, and she wasn't even on it. So it's crazy because like some of the people, they put you in a sequestered hotel room, which she also said would be like our moist hotel rooms that we stayed in.
Ew.
But she had to stay in there for 8 weeks.
Oh no.
No phone. And she never made it on the show because they hold people until you're like a bombshell. And so they don't put you in until it's like your time to go in. But if you're filming for 30 or so weeks, you might be in there for however long and then you get thrown in at random.
Wait, so they're watching the show from the Dusty Hotel until you call them to come film?
Yes. And they're like, maybe I want to date this one when they call me in, hopefully tomorrow. And they're like sitting there waiting and they have no phone. She's like, I was just journaling and like working out the whole time. There's like lizards crawling around on the ceiling.
No one.
She said it was an experience for sure. Like, but she never got chosen to go on.
Oh my goodness, that's awful.
We were like from 2 D-listers to a future one.
Yeah, to a future one. Wow.
That was the light bulb moment. But reach out to Jasmine from last season. I just really want to know behind the scenes on Love Island. So I feel like having her on the podcast would be more for me than anything, but I think other people would really like to hear it.
100%.
Well, I need to catch up before she comes on the show. So maybe she could be on our show, next month?
Kirsten, I'm telling you, watch it and you'll be sad on Wednesdays because that's the one day it's not on. So Wednesday comes, I'm like, we have to wait till Thursday. So Tuesday's always a good episode because they want to keep you longing for Thursday.
They have y'all hooked.
And apparently the UK is better. And I watched season 1 of the UK, which was phenomenal. But then season 2 was terrible. So I stopped watching it. But apparently UK is even better than USA.
What makes it better? The people?
That's what everyone says. The UK is better.
I think they do more in the UK. Like they can get away. But I don't actually understand that because there's people on this season of USA who are not from the US. Like one guy has never even been to the United States. The one thing I don't like about Love Island is for some reason they like to zoom in on them when they're making out. I don't know if it's kids these days or if I just am doing something wrong.
Why was her tongue straight like that? Like
they go tongues first.
Tongue to tongue.
Oh my God.
And they zoom in on the tongue. It's like tongue wrestling outside of the mouths. Like maybe tongues are longer now. I don't know. I haven't been kissed a 20-something-year-old in a while.
They had a kissing challenge, Kirsten, where everyone was blindfolded and the girls went first. So the first girl went and kissed every single guy, and then the next girl went and kissed every single guy, and they had to rate it. So they'd like, that was like a 6.
That is so gross. That is so gross. I'm making my stomach hurt right now.
I was like, did they have to like sanitize their mouths after? Like, what did they do?
I would think so, like mouthwash or something.
They had to do something to make sure they don't get sick.
We want to get a neon sign in the backyard that says Soul Ties.
We have to get a little hot tub back there.
Please get the neon light.
They go into Soul Ties when they want to be like sneaky and sexy.
Speaking of sneaky and sexy, have you been thinking of something sneaky and sexy to do on your anniversary?
A photo shoot?
A photo shoot. Nicole, you remember we talked about being sexy, so.
Listen, we're just not a sexy duo. It's like he doesn't care. I'm like, I could buy lingerie. And he's like, but why? Like, it's coming off. I'm like, all right. But speaking of lingerie and feeling sexy, it actually reminds me of when we went lingerie shopping when we were filming Kirsten. And I know that was, first of all, thank you, because that was a really hard day for me. So thank you for being there. And
You know, exactly.
I feel like we should segue into body image and confidence. So just trigger warning if anyone is listening and this is a triggering subject for you, we will be moving the conversation over to our body images and how we feel now, how we felt during filming, overall, our struggles with it. So, not to turn the mood too much, but I
Yeah.
think this is a really important conversation and topic for us to have.
I mean, I definitely feel like it's an important conversation and topic for us to have because I feel like as women, that's something that we all focus on. Like, it's one of the most important parts of it's the most important part of our lives is like how we look and how we feel about how we look. And Gina, I'm sure you can weigh in on that too. Like, even this year for me, I lost 10 pounds probably in like 6 or 7 weeks because I started fasting and I'm like, okay, let me get myself together. Even though I work out in the gym every day, it's more so about eating. So I know how I physically want to look, but it's not anybody else's business about how I physically look, you know?
Yeah.
Period.
Nicole, I kind of want to rewind because I know Kirsten was there with you that day. And I remember you living through watching it and how like terrible that was. But I feel like the world deserves to hear your take on like what that day was supposed to be. Because remember how terrible that was? Like what that day was supposed to be for you and then what it ended up actually being. And then how terrible it was when it all like was edited and put out. If you want to share that, because I feel like you never really had an opportunity to talk about that. And it wasn't at all what that day was like supposed to be and what you guys even filmed and then what it ended up being for viewers.
No, I'm definitely happy to talk about it. I think us having this platform, we love to laugh and chit chat and have all the fun conversations, but I think it's really important that we do bring up these topics. So I would love to share my little tale. Just a little background. I know this is not unique, but I grew up feeling good about myself until I hit a certain age and then was hit with a bunch of body image issues, confidence issues, developed a lot of disordered eating patterns that I did not know were disordered eating patterns. And when I was in my early 30s, I got really big into fitness. I was doing CrossFit. I was exercising 2-3 times a day to the point that multiple physicians told me I would have permanent nerve damage if I didn't give my body a break. But I was ridden with so much guilt if I didn't work out or so much food guilt if I ate anything quote unquote bad. And I was just really super unhealthy, even though I was at my lowest weight or at my fittest. And a lot of that is truthfully why I moved out of New York, because I was just putting so much pressure on myself and so much stress. And I moved to Nashville and tried to kind of release some of those things, but there was still so much underlying pain there that I didn't ever deal with. I was just like, oh, everyone hates their body. But it was all in my head. Like people could tell me every hour of the day that they thought I was beautiful. They thought I was this, they thought I was that, but I couldn't see it. And that was also hurting me with dating because I was willing to accept lower than what I deserved with men because the ones who would compliment me and make me feel good were the ones that I would veer towards. So can't make this a long story short. But fast forward to filming, right before or right when we found out we were getting married, I was just really stressed with life and I was eating more than usual, not really exercising that much because I was just so stressed. And I had gained weight. I'm a human. I gain weight. I lose weight. It happens to me all my life. I'm sure it happens to you ladies. I'm sure it happens to every single person listening to this. Not a unique situation. However, in my situation, I was at my heaviest right before I was about to be put on national television for the first time. And honestly, I beat myself up so much about it, but there was nothing I could do. I found out I was getting married in 2 weeks, didn't have time to lose weight, was not, I had to pick a wedding dress that really didn't fit me, and I felt really crappy on my wedding day and all of that. But I didn't realize that the issues were so deep-rooted until I was married to a man who made me feel beautiful and would genuinely tell me all of these nice things about me and how much he loved me. Well, he didn't say love at that point, but how beautiful he thought I was and how much he cared about me and all of the things you want to hear. And I was actually starting to believe him. Rightfully so. He was being genuine. But I had never really believed anyone before. So it was a very scary, emotional experience for me. And we were filming one day, and one of our producers basically told Chris to tell me a story that he had told off camera. And the story was that on our wedding day, they asked him his initial thoughts of me when he saw me walking down the aisle. And he said, I don't remember the exact words, but I'm pretty sure he said something like, "She's beautiful, thicker than I normally go for, but not in a bad way." And they made him talk about this on the wedding day. They made him talk about this on the honeymoon, which I had never known. It was not something that was brought to my attention. So my assumption is that the producer wanted him to tell me before I saw it on TV. So they decided to film him telling me. And listen, I am a thick girl. There is nothing wrong with being thick. I actually prefer it because I like to have a little more, body to me. But I think everyone is beautiful. You could be 30 pounds, 300,000 pounds. Like, I don't care. I don't care what your definition of thick is. But all I know is that the way he was saying it was not intended to be a compliment. So my first reaction when I heard it was like, okay, thank you for telling me. Sure. But I don't think that's something that you should go around saying if you don't think that you mean it as a compliment. Because, it's like saying to like someone has huge boobs or whatever, but if you're saying it as a negative because you don't like big boobs, then don't say it. So I said, I don't think you should say something that has different definitions to different people. So it became this thing inside me because all I heard from that was, okay, he didn't like my body and he still doesn't, or he's not attracted to me because he didn't think my body was how he wanted it to be on our wedding day, which was not the case. So I obviously got very upset, not about what he said, truthfully, and I was happy he told me, but more just it started creating these doubts in my mind that I couldn't control. So I had the idea for our anniversary to do a little boudoir shoot to show that I did feel sexy and that I wanted him to see me just how I was, even if I was a little thicker, weighed a little more than I usually do. And I made the mistake of telling the producer that, and they wanted to film the boudoir shoot, which I absolutely said no to. I said, this is something that's supposed to be super romantic and special and has a deeper meaning than just sexy photos and lingerie for my husband. It was honestly more for me than anything to prove to myself that I could feel good about myself in my relationship. And the compromise, because they were so in love with this idea, the compromise was that we would go lingerie shopping. And I said I would only go if Kirsten would go with me. Sorry, Gina, I love you. You would have been a great option as well, but it just felt Kirsten's the queen of sexy. It is what it is. So I said I would only go if Kirsten went with me, and she went with me. And I'm shaking telling you this story because it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Like, I was on camera in my bathing suit. I obviously cared because, I cared, but that wasn't as big of a deal to me. But it was just something about being in a store wearing things that I was supposed to feel sexy in, knowing that I wouldn't. And Kirsten, you did the best job of making light of it. And I could not appreciate you more in that moment.
Well, that's what I'm here for. Like, I'm always going to make you feel good, because I love you. And so, like, in that moment, that's when you need a friend like that, like, to give you the confidence that you need, to feel great about yourself. And you saying that you're thick is sending me. I'm like, oh my gosh, Nicole, what part of thick do you mean, honey? Where is the thick meat at? I'm like, what?
You don't have to be meaty. It's like I have a shape. I have a frame. I'm not skin and bone. You're not going to break me is how I athletic.
Describe your thick. Yeah. Your thick and my thick are two different things. Because I was thick, Nicole, I was thick myself when we went to go look for your lingerie.
That is exactly my point.
It's different definitions too, because
It's different definitions.
and it's the same
Yeah.
thing with you saying like it wasn't intended to be nice. You know, like when Clint got so much heat for saying slender and athletic, and everyone's face was like, "Oh my God." It's just that the intent wasn't necessarily nice. I don't think he meant it mean, and I think everyone has those thoughts of people whatever it may be, whatever your preference is, and it doesn't always mean something negative, but I think the point is that sometimes it was exacerbated to be a negative, or they were forcing people to talk about certain things. Like, I mean, listen, I'm sure my boyfriend knows I'm probably the thickest he's ever dated, but I've always been like confident about that, and that's something that I don't know that he necessarily was quote unquote attracted to before, but it's something that I think I just kind of stepped into in my 30s and had to like eventually accept, like, this is how I'm built. Like, it's, right now it's the thickest I've ever been, because like what you said, I'm the busiest I've been. And honestly, it's just hasn't taken priority like it used to, but you're going to change all the time, regardless. I just remember looking at you guys when we all first met, and it's interesting to think that that's like the last thing I would have thought about any of us. I think that's the last thing I would have ever, I didn't even notice anyone's like weight at that point. Like, I was just like, oh, this is so pretty about her, or, she's so cute, or her smile's beautiful, or whatever it is. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, it's the things that we think people notice about us that they never do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny you say that, because of course I was so nervous the day we all met up, because I wanted to look good for me, but mostly because it's like, I'm going to meet the other women I'm on the show with. I don't want to walk in the room and then be like, okay, she's the ugly one, or she's the one with the bad body, or whatever it is. But I don't think anyone was thinking that. And I was certainly not thinking that about you. But that's a lot of where my intrusive thoughts come from, unfortunately. But you're proving the point exactly of, we all have different definitions, and no one's definition is right or wrong, because I know I got a lot of flack for that, when Clint made his comments, for being so reactive. And when Chris and I did have that conversation, how I wasn't upset with him when he was talking about me directly, but it's not the words, it's how you say it, or how you mean it when you say it. So I just don't think, and listen, like, I'm not really a sensitive person. Like, I'm very politically incorrect a lot of the time. I should not say that. I know my audience. I know when to say certain things, but I do not offend easily. But I don't think anyone's weight should be a topic. Even if you're complimenting someone, like, if you want to compliment someone on all the hard work, like Kirsten, you have been killing it at the gym. You've been drinking your smoothies. Like, I know you've been working really hard, and I'm very proud of you, and I can see the visible results, and that is an amazing thing. And I think that is a very different comment than if I were to just go up to you and be like, you're skinny today, or you look skinny, you look good. Like, those to me are not the same kind of compliment. And I know a lot of people, and not necessarily just people on the internet, like people I know, people I'm friendly with, or, casual acquaintances with, but I'll get comments all the time now. I post a picture like, you look skinny, or, hey, you've lost weight. Like, okay. And like, I know it's not ill-intentioned, but it still makes me think, like, A, why are we talking about my weight? B, was I so aggressively overweight before that now you can give me a compliment because I've lost weight, and in your eyes, I'm deemed worthy? And also, I'm still not really where I want to be, so it feels weird accepting compliments when I'm not really doing things in the healthiest way. Like, I forget to eat all the time because I'm so busy. So I've lost a little weight from that. And I don't think that's something to be proud of. But when people say, oh, you look so good now, like, when you were filming, you look like a different person. Okay. I was trying to make myself feel good about then. And now I feel like none of those feelings are valid. So it's a very confusing place up in my brain, and it's something I struggle with every day. But Chris I do not think he ever intended to say anything hurtful to me, and I don't hold anything against him, but it just did bring up a lot of things that I had to deal with on camera.
I definitely feel like that was a great context of how you feel about the whole body image, because that would give people a better understanding of like how to approach that topic. And like you said, you don't feel comfortable when people are focusing on that topic. But I love you, and I may have to start texting you now to check in on you to make sure you're eating.
Texting that too.
I know, I'm over here like, I promise I'm eating. I like forget all day long. Also, I was going to say before I forget, can we all just agree that the camera makes you look drastically different?
It does.
Because a lot of the weight comments, like I remember even when I forgot what I said, I was like, no, like I'm a size 26, which not now. I'm probably like a 28, 29. But when we were filming, I was that. And everyone was like, the comment I would get when I went down the dark web too of like Reddit was, there's no way she's a 26. And I'm like, no, I swear. Like you want to like really let
I'll show you
people
my
know, I'll show
jeans.
you my jeans. I'll show you everything. I'll measure it. It's like so stupid that you want to justify that. But it is like, that's already hard enough in itself that you watch and you're like, wait, the camera definitely, you look different in different angles. That's why people take selfies differently and take photos and have their side that they prefer and whatever it is, because we can't do that. When you're on a TV show, you can't pick your side. You can't pick anything. You actually don't see it until it's live and in front of you and you're watching it with the rest of the general public. So it's like, it's just so interesting that people have things to say and you're like, okay, well, if we're up to you, you would probably pick exactly what side. And we know that everyone's out there face apping regardless. Okay. Everyone does it, or changing photos and videos. Like it's just part of it. But that's one thing that was difficult for me during that whole thing, because I did feel like I looked different. And then you see people after and they're like, oh my God, you're so skinny. And you're like, oh, like I know, Nicole, we talk about
Not a
like,
compliment.
the backhanded compliment. You're like, actually, I didn't lose a lot of weight. Like I'm truly the exact same as I was when I was filming. It's just that you look a little bit different on camera than you do in real life. So
I do feel like I looked a little frumpy on camera. And it's so funny because when people walk up and see me, they're like, oh my gosh, you're even more beautiful in person. Like, I know I looked a little crazy on camera. Sometimes when I look at some of the episodes, I'm like, ooh, I look a mess. Like, it's better for me to judge myself versus people judging me. So it's like when they come up to you and they say, oh, you look better in person, I'm like, okay, so how did I look on TV? Like, I know I looked a mess. I'm like, you better not say I look terrible in my face. Like, I can say that to myself because I'm very confident in myself, and that's kind of like what I try to teach other people. It's like, just be confident in yourself. If you're big, you're small, if your hair looks a certain way, wear it, own it, and feel good in it. And it's like, only you can find that within yourself. And like, it doesn't matter what anybody else says, because I'm like, come to Nashville. Like, say it to my face, and then let's see how that goes. Because I'm not sitting here talking about you, so like, mind your own business. But I'm like, it's so much more in the world that's important besides like the physical appearance, you know? And I just feel like people just focus so much on that physical appearance. And I'm like, okay, so what else are you made of?
The people who make the comments are always the people who don't have any business. Like I would go into the dark web as well, and I would see comments like, oh my God, he's not going to be attracted to her. She's so ugly. She looks like a man, blah, blah, blah. And I would click on them and I'm like,
The nerve.
okay,
Right?
you look how you look, and I'm not going to talk about you. But if I were to talk about you, you don't have a
leg to stand on. Yeah.
You don't have a leg to stand on.
Not one.
Hey, Prime members, are you tired of ads interfering with your favorite podcasts? Good news. With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free podcasts. That's amazon.com/ad-free podcasts to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid.
So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
One. It is always
No.
like the ones that you could really go to town on, that you're like, oh, you're the one making comments, which it just makes sense. It's like, only you have to be a certain level of insecure to go to someone. And I don't care, this is always, sometimes I'll get into arguments on Instagram with people if I'm bored, and I'm like, I'm gonna fire back, depends on my mood. But I'm like, you have to be a level of insecure to go to a stranger's page and have something to say. And they're always like, well, you ask for it by putting yourself on television. I'm like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. No one goes on a television show to ask for someone to come and attack their physical appearance and tear down their character and question their motives and all of those things. So it's just so ridiculous to me. But it ends up being the most insecure. And all that to say, like, Kirsten, I know you're super confident. And Nicole, you are a confident person. Like, I can say that about you as well. So it's like, that's why we don't feel the need to like talk badly about someone. That's like the last thing I notice about people is the way that they look. I'll notice character over anything.
Amen to that. And that's why I do appreciate the genuine people and like all the great support that we've been having since we started this podcast. Like people have been so kind and so supportive. And I'm like, that's what we love to see.
Yeah, we love the support. I mean, I do notice and talk about people's physical features in a positive way. Like, Gina, you weren't there, but for Kirsten's birthday, I brought out this, not a game, but this thing we used to do back in New York for everyone's birthday. You go around the table and you say your favorite thing about the person, their physical attribute and like personality trait. And I love this game because I feel like you never get specific comments. You'll say like, oh, you look so beautiful today, or your hair looks really nice, or whatever. But how often do you tell your friends, like, you have the most beautiful smile, or, when you walk into a room, your eyes just light up and it brings joy to my heart? Like, those are the things that I notice about people. And I know I personally don't say them as much as I should, but even listening to this podcast, I hear your cute little laughs. I'm like, oh, my friends have such adorable little laughs that make me feel happy. So those are the things that I notice about people and I want to point out. But even with my own insecurities, I've never seen someone and said, wow, I should go comment on their weight, positive or negative, or wow, their skin is looking really bad today. Like, I should point that out. There's just no need for people to say it, even if it's meant to be positive, if you don't know what the person is going through, because you don't know what can be triggering or how that person got to that point. I just think today, with all the filters and all of that, you never really know what anyone really looks like. So when you see someone in person, it's like, whoa, you look crazy different. Not a compliment. Not a compliment.
That's not nice. You look like a different person in real life.
It's so interesting though, because like me, my friends and some of my family members, like we constantly talk about our weight all the time. And some of my friends, like they've had children, so it's like they're very conscious of how they look now, and it's certain ways that they used to look before then. So I just know for women, like that is something that's always on our brain. Like we're always trying to look our best. But I do, y'all, and I will say this, I truly admire people who are so confident and they're just so comfortable in the skin that they're in. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I love it. It just does something extra to me to see that. I'm like, okay, let me, be happy with who I am too. But it just feels good to know that we have each other. And like, if you want to change something about yourself, you can. And it's to your own discretion of how you do it. I mean, you have people out here like me who may fast and drink one smoothie a day and then eat a salad tomorrow. And then you have people who may do Ozempic. You just don't know. I mean, it's crazy out here. And I've literally seen people, like you said, use the app and like snatch different things on their bodies, where there's something on their face or their waist or their legs. I'm like, this is crazy.
And listen, I would love to do that. Like, I look at pictures and the first thing I do is pick myself apart. I'm like, okay, group photo, zoom in on myself. Let me see my hair. Let me see my face. Let me see my arm. But I don't filter pictures in that way because, maybe like add a little color or something if the color is a little off. But I'm not going to start slimming my body parts because if that's the image I want the world to see of me, then I can't ever go out in public.
Right.
Because anyone who sees me will know that that's not true. And it truly is, it like hits something inside of me when I see people. And I know it's always nice. I keep repeating that, but I'll just see someone out like, wow, you look great. Wow. I'm like, I wasn't, even if I was 600 pounds before, like I'm not talking about the exact number, but I was that much heavier during filming.
I swear it's the cameras. I'm telling you.
I'm agreeing with you. The cameras don't do anyone any justice, but I was heavier. I'm not denying that. And I'm not trying to say that I wasn't, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I think when people seem so surprised, like, oh my God, I didn't even recognize you. You've lost a ton of weight. But I'm the same person. I look the same. I really did not lose that much weight. And why is that the thing that you want to talk to me about? Like, you're so excited to see me in the airport or wherever I run into you. So the first thing you say to me is, wow, you've lost weight. Okay, not my first choice, but it's been getting to me lately because now it's starting to build up in my head of, is this what people are attaching my value to, that I'm now thinner? So if I gain weight again, am I therefore not looking good in people's eyes? And I can't get those thoughts to simmer down. So,
and my whole thing is like, most importantly, and I feel like when people approach me, they always say something about Shaquille and I. Like, if I've seen you, I would definitely want to know how you and Chris have been doing. How's your marriage going? Like, more important questions versus like, oh my gosh, I can't believe X, Y, and Z. Like, all the things about your weight. Like, I would definitely want to know, like, how are the dogs? Like, I saw you guys bought a house. Update me on what's going on now. Like, you would think that people would be that invested in like your marriage because that was the whole purpose of the show.
Right.
Versus your body.
I don't know. I feel like people feel like it just goes back to people watching us for like 30 something weeks. So for whatever reason, and I'm not saying this is right, this just popped into my head, but I think that they know us so well that it's okay to like say things like that. Like, you're a close friend and people compliment in different ways. So I think sometimes they probably do mean it as a compliment. Not trying to play devil's advocate, but it's like, it's a ridiculous thing to bring up, but I think they think that they're like good friends with us. So when they see you, they're like, oh my God, they can just bring up something like that, but we've never met them. So we're like, okay, whoa, offensive. I've like never met you before. Why is that your first thing to say to me? I have even like people that I've had in the salon as clients, and the amount that, which I love all my clients, I've met a few from the show, but they really do think they know so much about our lives because they're so invested. So like, even down to like something that we're like, what? They're like so invested that they think that that's like an okay topic to bring up. But I wouldn't even bring that up with like best friends that I see, I don't know. It's weird.
I agree with you. I don't think anyone ever really, or I should say, to my knowledge, I have never had anyone say anything negative about my appearance to my face.
Yeah, they don't have the balls for that.
But on the internet, however, that's all they wanted to talk about when the show was airing. I was like, you want to talk about my crazy personality? Please be my guest. I'll sign you on the wait list. But there's no need to talk about my weight. And then I'm on there defending myself like, I'm not a man. Actually, I am a woman, and I was a gymnast when I was younger, so I just have a gymnast build. Like, I don't need to explain myself to, Debbie in Des Moines, who probably has never done a push-up in her life, and you're challenging her to like meet me in the gym so I can show her how strong I am. Like, I don't need to be doing that. I'm weak.
Listen, they're out there going for every insecurity that anyone could have. Like, I didn't even realize certain things about myself that I was insecure about until I read them on the internet. I'm like, oh God, that really, like, my mouth's like a catfish?
It makes you think differently about yourself. But to Kirsten's point, like, we should just own it and love it. And I know I'm personally working on it, and having friends like you two is, when we were at our photo shoot a few weeks ago, I remember at one
And
point,
you
like,
slayed, period. And I hope they saw the real. Let's get into that, boo.
but Gina was like brushing my hair and Kirsten was fixing something on me. And I was like, oh, I feel like a little baby, like being brought out for her debut. But it was so amazing to have two women who were there to lift me up and make me feel confident when I was doing solo pictures, which I'm not really comfortable with. I was like, wow, genuine cheerleaders, not just people who are like, okay, we want to make you look good because this benefits us. It's like, you were helping me because you're my friends and you just wanted to build me up. And truthfully, I appreciate that more than I can put into words. And it's just nice to have friends like you. So that's a little tangent on how much I love you guys.
We love you too.
I love you too. Truly. I mean, it is like, I think that I've just tried to learn to be accepting of my body because, like I said, like I'm in like my worst shape and I've been in my best shape before. So I know what that looks like what I am capable of. And even like the shoot, like I won't lie, like looking at the videos, I'm like, oh, whoa, like I need a change. Like looking at those. And it's like, you guys probably wouldn't notice that at all. Like everyone's going to be their own worst critic, but it's so easy. Like for instance, like I'll look at things and like all those photos, I'm like, oh, the thought popped in my mind, like, oh God, people are going to see these. And then this slender and athletic comment was, said on TV, and I'm like batting for that. And then they're like, she is not slender or athletic. But it's like, whose definition is that? Like,
You looked athletic to me. That's all I'm going to say.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's just like different seasons. It's like, I know where I'm at right now and I know why. Like, I know that what I'm capable of, and I know that I'll be back to that whenever I prioritize my time and actually do it. But you never know who's like looking at you and envious of like what you've got going on, because I was there looking at both of you guys like, damn, they look really good. Like Nicole looks real good. Kirsten looks real good. And then who knows, Nicole, you're probably thinking the same thing. So like everyone's always,
I look at your butts every time I see you guys and I'm like, oh, can I just take some of theirs and put one cheek from Gina, one cheek from Kirsten?
Oh my gosh. You are hilarious. And I'm like, y'all look good. I just feel like you said, Gina, we are our own worst critics. And it's like, honestly, beauty is within. And I just feel like we all looked amazing because I could pick myself apart too. I was like, oh man, like when I sit down, look at my stomach. Like I probably should have sat up straighter. Probably should have held my stomach in. Like we can all do that as women. And it's like, okay, why am I tearing myself down? Like, let me find something else that I love about myself.
And then I have to think too, like, this is like the things that maybe this is helpful, Nicole, with what you're thinking about. But like sometimes I have to think about it and I'm like, damn, I'm 37. I am 37 years old and never in a million years in my 20s, I would rather look what I look like now than what I look like in my 20s. And that's like something to be proud of because I know women in their 30s that don't feel that way. And I'm like, damn, I'm like pushing 40 and this is like good. Like I feel like I look good. And it's just, I feel like comparison is the thief of joy. And the minute that you start comparing yourself to whoever, you're going to find a reason to not be happy with what you got. So it's like, okay, I have to like, my body might not be in the tip top shape that I was in a couple years ago, but I know like I went through a really terrible knee surgery and I killed it at the damn gym after that knee surgery. And that was the hardest thing I did for a year. And then like went right into filming and stuff. So it's like, I know I'll get back. So I don't really, that's kind of how I like work through it in my mind. I'm like, I don't really care what anyone has to say because they don't know my journey. They don't know like surgeries I've gone through. They don't know how busy I am every day and like how hard it is to prioritize health and just remembering to eat, like you said. So, the people that are saying things have no idea. So it's like, I try not to let that affect the way that I'm thinking.
And that's important. And that's what you always have to remember. Like you said, you know what you're capable of and you know what you can do. But and then sometimes it really depends on where your priorities are. Like we all have different things to focus on right now. Like Nicole, you're a wife and you're also, great at what you do at work. So you focus on those two things. And then you're also focusing on yourself. Like Gina, you're focusing on building your business. So it's like, we juggle so much. And like for me, fitness is my top priority in real estate because those are what I'm focusing on right now. But in different seasons, that's when you can determine, hey, I really want to go hard on in this area. So it just depends on what season you're in.
I need to get in that season, Kirsten.
Well, come on.
Well, I had a gym, like that was part of my thing. It's like I had a gym that I loved for like 2 years, and then I tore my ACL and COVID hit, and then it just wasn't the same. Like it didn't feel the same. The workouts weren't the same, and I've never found anything that I loved as much as being there. I was so fit. I mean, I was like obsessively fit. I would go like 6 times a week, sometimes 2 days.
Wow.
Not an ounce of body fat.
Good.
And then it's like, that was also before I started building my business too. But I still was like self-employed and just as busy. It's just priority. It's like you get to a point too where it's almost so hard to just start going again that you have to make it a habit. It's like, I know that if I just like did a little something every day for like 2 weeks, then I'd be back in it. But it's always so hard to just like start going again.
The hardest part.
And then you know it's going to suck. Like, you know it's going to suck when you're out of shape and you have to start over. And you're like, oh, I feel like the fat kid in class. I'm not going to do this. It's embarrassing. And then it's not that bad.
You know, no one is looking at you. Like, I have
No.
heard this.
All the time. And if they are, they're like, yeah, get it. Like no, I've been that person that like the fittest I ever am. I'm not looking around at all. All I'm doing is counting and trying not to die.
Or looking at myself. I'm like, I want to see how I look.
Yeah. I'm like looking at my form so I'm not going to tear something.
Right.
Please don't. Please don't. Here's your sign to get started again, Gina. This is your sign today.
I know.
Since we're on this topic, is to get up and get started. Nicole and I are getting in there, and you can get in there too. It's mind over matter. So just tell yourself, hey, even if you wake up and go walk like 2 miles.
I did today.
Oh, see, that's something. You're moving your body.
I
You
did.
go, girl.
Well, and I do run around. That's all I do is stand and run around. I swear, when I look at my Aura ring at the end of the day, I'm like, how did I walk 6.5 miles today? It's like in the salon, I'm up all day and moving and on my feet. I just need something again where I'm like strength training and truly like working out because it's the same thing as anything else. Like Nicole, I don't remember to eat. We are both very ADHD. I don't remember to eat. I don't remember to drink water, and I don't remember to work out.
I'm gonna start texting y'all.
Thank you. But it's more of
It's our mental struggles.
like I went downstairs before for lunch and I had time. Like there was nothing preventing me from making a meal, sitting down and eating it, but I had so many things on my mind. I was like, I don't have time. So it's 900 degrees outside and I made soup, which I have not, it's still sitting here. I have not really touched it. And this was at like 3:00 because I knew it would be quick and easy and I could take it back to my desk and I could sip on it while I was working. I didn't need to do that, but then I brought it up to my desk and I started working and then the soup got cold. So now it's just sitting here and I'm starving.
This podcast could be about ADHD, the inattentive type. So that is our real problem.
I think we need an ADHD doctor on here because it truly is, it is part of having ADHD and our medication, but that's also something when people are like, you've lost weight, what are you doing? It's like, I don't want to promote what I'm doing because what I'm doing is not the healthiest. And I don't think it's something to be proud of to say, I don't eat that much or I binge eat because I'm so hungry. And then I feel really guilty about it because I ate, all my calories in one meal and then I had dessert.
See, that's what I used to do. That's awful too. I used to do that a lot.
That's
I would
me.
eat
I'm
one
there.
big meal and then I would go get me some pennies.
That's what I'm
I would eat
doing.
one big meal. Like I would go to Chop and get a salad and eat that. And then at night, I would just probably run to Jenny's and get me some ice cream.
I used to count calories. I used to count macros. I used to be so strict about every single thing I put into my body. And I want to stay away from that because I don't want to beat myself up about eating something that's not within my calorie count or my macro count. But now I've kind of gone the opposite direction where I call it intuitive eating, but it's really not. It's just eat whatever you want and remind yourself that you don't eat during the day. So it's okay. I know it's not okay. I mean, it's just who I am and something I need to work on.
Listen, Hank was told he had to lose some weight too. That was a first. So
it's okay, buddy. We're all there.
We went on a walk today, but he's normally 72 pounds and right now he's at 82.
He's still so handsome. Hey, Hank. Hanky panky.
All of what we talked about today is really just a way to say that we're all here struggling in different ways. You know, not every day is a struggle. Some days I wake up, I actually took Eris's advice, and I wake up in the morning and I just smile at myself in the mirror, and I feel silly doing it sometimes, but I see a smiling face back. I'm like, all right, girl, you got this. Like, go ahead, get your gym on, go do your day, whatever it is. But not every day is a struggle. But right now I'm struggling a little harder, and I feel like that's okay to say. You know, you don't always have to be sunshine and smiles. Like, it's okay to struggle with certain things at certain times. And right now I'm just struggling with it. All of that to say is I'm very grateful to have this platform to talk about these struggles, to have amazing friends like you who lift me up when I'm feeling this way. And I just hope that my story and your stories and just us talking about this topic helps even one person feel like what they're feeling is okay. And of course, we want to be beautiful, badass, positive, confident women, and we are. But it's also okay that we don't feel that 24/7 because we're women and it's life and we're human. And I just hope people can remember that. But all of that to say is I love you guys. And I think you're beautiful inside and out. And that goes to all of our listeners. I can't see you, but I know you're beautiful if you're listening to us every week. So thank you.
Aw, so sweet. Love you too. So sweet. And it is okay not to be okay sometimes, because I struggle with that too, Nicole. Like, some days I wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't feel like working out today. But I may need to start looking at myself and smiling in the mirror as well. I feel like that's a really great exercise to suggest. So maybe everybody else can remember that too. But sometimes when I work out, I do like a little dance move in the mirror, like, because it makes me,
Okay.
yeah, I do like
Yeah.
a little dance move because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm having a good time. Like, I actually woke up and stayed looking good. She's looking great. Everything's going to be okay.
And just remember, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
I love that. Couldn't have said it better myself. But everyone out there, thank you for listening to another episode of D-List Diaries. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we would love to know what else you want to hear us talk about. So message us on Instagram at D-List Diaries, and keep your ears out for more upcoming special guests, because we have some very, very cool ones on the list, and we just need to get a schedule down and you will hear them. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Hey, it's Mark Maron from WTF, here to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. And I'm sure the reason you're listening to this podcast right now is because you chose it. Well, choose Progressive's Name Your Price tool, and you could find insurance options that fit your budget, so you can pick the best one for your situation. Who doesn't like choice? Try it at Progressive.com. And now, some legal info. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
At the UPS Store, we ensure your small biz stands out with a variety of high-quality paper stock options, banners, posters, brochures, and more. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today and get your print on.